Since last year, I've added some new questions to the Translations on the Coordinate Plane guided notes. So this video is going to cover numbers 9 through 13 from those notes, which are the new questions that were just added this year. Let's begin with number 9. This is a multiple choice question, and it says, which translation mapping is shown in the figure at the left? Keep in mind that our pre-image is going to have the vertices A, B, C, and D. So that's in the fourth quadrant right down here. And then our image after a translation is going to have our vertices A prime, B prime, C prime, and D prime. So let's take a look at what changed. So I'm going to grab my highlighter here and take a look at what changes we had. And I'm going to use point A for this. So point A is going to start right down here, and I'm going to have to shift that to the left a certain number of units, and we'll count those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. We went left 5 units, and I can type that up in words. So left 5 units. And then I had to go up. So I'm going to grab my highlighter again. I'll highlight this in green. I had to go up to get to point A prime. So to get from A to A prime, I went left 5 units and then up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. So we can describe that as up 6 units. So when we go to describe this as a mapping, we can describe it in words as we did here. We're always going to do left or right first. So left 5 units is going to be x minus 5, which I can see here with choice C. Up 6 units is going to be y plus 6, which I also have with choice C. So what I know is that our correct solution here is going to be choice C, which is x minus 5, which is a mapping 5 units to the left, and y plus 6, which is a mapping 6 units up, which is what we can see from point A to point A prime, which is our image. All right, let's take a look at question number 10. A graphic design uses 2 congruent rectangles as color blocks to hold the artist's signature. Rectangle S prime, P prime, A prime, T prime is the translation of rectangle SPAT, as shown in the table at the right. Fill in the coordinates for points A and P prime, and then describe the translation. So I think it's actually easiest here to describe the translation first. I'm going to take a look at both S and S prime. So my X coordinate went from -3 to -1, which is actually an increase of 2. So what I notice is that I'm going to go to the right 2 units, or 2 units right. My Y coordinate went from 2 to 1, so it went down by 1. So I can describe that as going down 1 unit. So the way I described this translation was 2 units right and 1 unit down. And as an ordered pair, we can write that as x plus 2 for the 2 units right and y minus 1 for 1 unit down. That's going to help us figure out what P prime is given the point P. So if it originally was 1, 2, 1 plus 2 is going to get us an x coordinate of 3, and then 2 minus 1 is going to get us a y coordinate of 1. Now we have to work backwards though to go from A prime to point A. So instead of going 2 units right, which is what I did to get from A to A prime, I'm going to go 2 units to the left to undo that. So I'm going to subtract 2 from 3, which is going to get us an x coordinate of 1. And instead of going 1 unit down, we're going backwards, so we're going to go 1 unit up. So I'm going to add 1 to the -2 to get us to -1. So point A would be at 1, -1. All right, let's take a look at number 11. Use the graph at the right for the following. Which point is the image of point A under the mapping x, y to x minus 5, y minus 2? So that it can be described in words as going to the left 5 units and going down 2 units. So let's take a look at which point goes left 5 units and down 2 units from point A. I'm going to have to cover that back up. So point A, left 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 2 is going to bring us to point D. So point D is the image after that translation. C, which actually that should just be part B. I don't know why it's a C, but which point is the image of point C under the mapping x, y to x plus 4 and y plus 1? So we can describe that as going to the right 4 units and up 1 unit. So from point C, we're going to go to the right 4 and up 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Up 1 unit is going to take us to point E, which you might have seen as I was moving the box out of the way. So again, for part A, it's going to be point D, and for part C, which should just be point B, or part B, is going to be point E. Point part, oh my goodness, it's one of those days. It's the end of a long day and just trying to edit this video. So my apologies for my craziness there. But hopefully that one was fairly straightforward. Again, just figure out what the mapping is in words and then follow that point along to find its image after that translation. All right, let's take a look at number 12. Let me get it straight now. This one's a little bit trickier. A translation maps point A, -2, 5, under x, y, x plus 3, and y minus 2. So we're going to graph points A and A prime. Now what I notice, if I have x plus 3, that means I'm going to go to the right 3, and y minus 2 means I'm going to go down 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to graph point A, which is at -2, 5. And that's going to be right up here, and I'm going to label that as point A. And then A prime, we have to go to the right 3 and down 2 to graph that point. So right 3 and down 2 is going to be 1, 2, 3. Oh, let me grab that point again. I lost it. 1, 2, 3 units to the right, down 2 is going to give us a point right here, and that's going to be at 1, 3. So that's going to be A prime. And that is after a mapping right 3 units and down 2 units. Now part B asks us to find the difference between points A and A prime. Now this is a diagonal here, so we can't just count the blocks, but something we did in the past is that we connected these points and then we formed a right triangle. So I'm going to go ahead and form a right triangle here where I can count the blocks. Now, I don't have to create this one. I could have also gone right from point A and down to point A prime, but this is a right triangle here, and I could make those dotted lines. I'm not going to change those. But this is 2 units down, and I know that this is going to be 3 units across. And that is a right triangle where I know 2 of the sides, and I need to find the third, which happens to be the hypotenuse. So that means Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to use a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where 2 and 3 are a and b. So I'm going to do 2 squared plus 3 squared equals c squared. And c is the distance that I'm trying to find between points A and A prime. So I'll plug those in. That's going to get us 4 plus 9 equals c squared. 4 plus 9 is 13. And if I have 13 equals c squared, I want to take the square root of both sides. The square root of 13 is approximately 3.6 units. So the distance between points A and A prime is 3.6 units. So I wanted to combine some of our new concepts with something we've seen before. I think that's important for us to do because in real life, most math skills or most skills are going to be combined together and not separated into different units or different sections. So throwing in that Pythagorean theorem every now and then is good for us to review. All right, let's take a look at question number 13, the last one that I added into these notes. So number 13, it says a translation maps the origin, which is 0, 0, to the point -2, 4. So again, origin is 0, 0. What that means is that we went left 2 units and up 4 units. So that's how we can describe that translation. Left 2 and up 4 to get to -2, 4. We can also describe that as x minus 2 and y plus 4. So then what is the image of point -5, 3 under this same translation, which means that from -5, 3, we're going to go left 2 and up 4. So what we're going to do is do -5 minus 2 to go left 2 and 3 plus 4 to go up 4. That's going to give us -7, 7, which is choice A. So choice A is our solution. All right, hopefully you were able to get this addition or add on to the translations on the coordinate plane guided notes, just trying to kick some of these concepts up a notch and make them a little bit more challenging, especially since this is a concept that you will see again in geometry and in the 8th grade course as well. Thanks for listening.